Staying on with more news from India, the outgoing Wrestling Federation chief Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh has been charged with sexual harassment and stalking. The Delhi police, however, has suggested the dropping of the case filed by the minor, citing insufficient evidence. And remember, this charge sheet by the Delhi police has come after months and months of protest by the prominent Indian wrestlers such as Sakshi Malik, Vinesh, Phogat and Bajrang Punia. The POCSO, that is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences case, was filed by the minor wrestler's father. The father had made two statements before, one before the police and another before the magistrate, but then withdrew both the statements later. 6 other wrestlers have also filed separate complaints. So who is Brij Bhushan Singh? The 66-year-old accused is a member of India's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party. He's been the Wrestling Federation of India's chief since 2012 for the last 11 long years. Now, Singh has also faced a series of criminal cases throughout his career but hasn't been convicted yet. On the 18th of January earlier this year, some of India's most decorated wrestlers accused him of sexual harassment. So look how many months it has taken for them to in fact register their FIR and to charge sheet this man. The wrestlers staged a demonstration at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi. They demanded an impartial and an immediate probe into the matter. The Sports Ministry promised immediate action. Meanwhile, Brij Bhushan Singh was asked to step aside from his position. And days later, the Wrestling Federation of India denied any wrongdoing. A committee was formed, headed by Khel Ratna awardee Mary Kom. It was given 6 weeks to look into the allegations against Brij Bhushan Singh. But what is interesting is that despite this committee having been tasked to probe into this matter, into the accusations, very little came out of it. The wrestlers claimed that they were kept in the dark, so on the 21st of April, they filed official complaints, but no FIRs were still registered. On the 23rd of April, 2 months since the committee was formed, the wrestlers once again took to the streets. They demanded for the findings of the probe to be made public. A day later, the government shared what it called as major findings. It mentioned, believe it or not, it mentioned some structural lapses. And it called for effective communication between the federation and the sportspersons. On the 25th of April, the wrestlers sought the help from the Supreme Court. They filed a petition seeking an FIR against Brij Bhushan Singh. The top court issued a notice to the Delhi police to do the same. On the 28th of April, the Delhi police registered 2 FIRs. Meanwhile, the protests, of course, continued at Jantar Mantar. A month later, the wrestlers attempted to march towards India's new parliament building. And the visuals emerged of them being manhandled and detained. So this was the treatment that was meted out to India's most decorated wrestlers. This rough treatment resulted in national outrage. The International Olympic Committee and also the United World Wrestling condemned the incident. On the 30th of May, the protests, of course, reached the Indian pilgrimage city of Haridwar. The wrestlers huddled at the bank of holy river Ganga to immerse their medals, which they had worked so hard all their lives to, in fact, win for India. The women wrestlers were, of course, seen sobbing as they clutched at their medals and their awards. And eventually, they called it off on the insistence of India's Farmers' Organization chief, Naresh Tikait. The protest, of course, entered their 6 months in the month of June. The Olympic medalists Sakshi Malik and Bajrang Punia, along with their coaches, met with India's Home Minister Amit Shah at his official residence. The details of the meeting were not put out in the public domain, and days later, the wrestlers also met with the Sports Minister Anurag Thakur. He promised the police investigation will in fact come to an end by the 15th of June, which is today. Staying with the deadline, what is interesting is that a charge sheet has now been filed after months of sitting on the streets protesting against Brij Bhushan Singh. But the police has also submitted a report that is seeking the cancellation of the POCSO case filed by the minor wrestler. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.